Hi, folks. Welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, the rain finally stopped. It rained off and on for probably 24 hours. Definitely muddy. Got my wife's car stuck in the mud. Still have to pull that out. That was last night. It's been a fun time, right? Yeah, okay. I know how to drive a vehicle and this stuff, but I kind of did something I probably shouldn't with it, trying to get through an area that I should have known better, and it stuck. So anyways, this airline and helicopter crash is really getting a lot of airtime. I mean, of course it's a tragedy because many lives were lost. There's no question about that. We should definitely be remembering those families in prayer and stuff because of just the tragic level of this, of someone perishing that way. But there's just a lot of traction getting going. Donald Trump weighed in, insinuating that this happened because of DEI hires, and it's possible there's been some very conflicting information going back and forth of who was actually piloting the helicopter, and was it a regular seasoned pilot, or was it this woman that may be transgender, that was kind of still training? I don't know. It doesn't make sense, and even if that's the case, according to what I'm learning, is that there were two other people in the helicopter that seemed to be very seasoned pilots, and you would think that they would see that they were going towards an airline and they were flying at the wrong altitude. And according to what's being reported, is the air traffic control did warn them to get out of the way. So you would think these other two pilots would see that and kind of like either say something or take over. I don't know. I'm not a pilot, okay, so I can't exactly speak for all that, but it just seems like that would be, I mean, isn't that the part of the whole point of why there's a pilot and a co-pilot, so that if something goes wrong, you've got another one there? I don't know. It is strange. There's getting a lot of momentum with it. There's, of course, a lot of suspicion of what really happened, or was this just truly an accident, or was there something else? I don't know. I don't know. And I mean, we can look at all the conspiracies that are floating around, and some of them seem like they might have some legitimacy, and others are pretty far-fetched, which is typical with most things like this. But it's just strange. It's strange of what happened. And so, getting this much airtime, I gotta wonder, why. I mean, we've had, in recent months, we've had other plane wrecks in the last couple of years, and I don't know if they've garnered quite as much. Sometimes they have as much interest online, but there are a lot of other things going on right now. There's a lot of confirmation hearings in Congress for cabinet members that Trump is trying to put in. Those, if you have some spare time on your hands and you just want to be entertained, some of those Senate hearings can be quite entertaining. But also, Donald Trump has placed a 25% tariff on Canada and Mexico. He's also threatened a 100% tariff on any BRICS nation if BRICS does in fact try to replace the U.S. dollar. Now, in the last couple of years, it's been kind of back and forth with BRICS nations on what their intent is. I've heard stuff that from their members that yes, they are trying to replace the dollar, and others are saying, well, BRICS currency and the U.S. dollar can work side by side, and back and forth. But Donald Trump's saying it's 100% tariff if BRICS does move forward with trying to create a currency to replace the U.S. dollar. The whole tariff thing, I get it in a lot of ways. Well, number one, it's definitely a more constitutional way of taxation over the income tax. The problem is we still have the income tax, and we have hundreds of other taxes. So if we went back to an original constitutional form of government to where the federal government is funded by tariffs and there was nothing else, then that would probably be okay. But the problem right now with tariffs is it's not really punishing. I mean, it is, but it's not. Foreign nations, it's just adding a tax on you and I. So now the stuff that you and I buy that comes from Mexico or Canada, we're going to pay more for it because the business, that number one, tariffs are not paid by governments. The government doesn't pay them, and most certainly the business isn't going to pay them. You know, if a business is exporting or a business is importing, they're not paying taxes. Businesses don't pay taxes. I mean, they do, but they don't. They may send in paperwork to pay a tax, but whatever taxes they have to pay, they roll that down into, you know, what they sell or charge to the public. So in the end, the only people that actually pay taxes is the consumer. It's you and I. You know, but at the bottom of the totem pole, we're the ones that pay the taxes. And so added tariffs on things, it's just going to end up being that you and I pay for it. And so that's my big hang up. I'm not opposed to them. I'm just opposed to putting those in with everything else. You know, now if you can use the tariffs to, you know, get certain countries to back down or to comply with certain things, that would be okay. But and that has happened a few times already, but I don't think it's going to happen every time. And so at some point, you know, you and I are going to be paying higher prices for things because we are absorbing the cost of those tariffs, and we get a lot of stuff from Mexico and Canada, a lot of importation of stuff from both of those countries. So that's coming. You could start seeing prices, you know, very soon increase, and we're already seeing prices increase. There's prices everywhere that's increasing. It's, you know, it's like everyone forgot that we've had this inflation, you know, real inflation of probably 20 to 30% over the last few years. And it's like we kind of forgot about it until now. And then all of a sudden we're seeing prices go up in a lot of areas. And I mean, the number one thing right now is eggs that people are talking about. But there's several other items that have gone up in price. You know, real estate is still ridiculously high. Interest rates are ridiculously high. I saw something the other day that the average credit card rate has gone up interest rate on a credit card has gone up 50% over the last couple of years. I mean, that's an absurd amount of inflation. And so odds are we're going to keep continuing to see this. Now, I understand that, you know, it's possible that some of the plans of this new administration may eventually bring down that inflation. But I think the way things are going right now, that may be later on. But for right now, we're going to see probably more go up. We're going to see it get higher. And we're, you know, we already are, but we're definitely getting bigger and bigger into a trade war, which doesn't necessarily mean a good thing. You know, where tariffs are being placed on things, and again, in the end, it's like a real war. You've got the different companies or the different nations warring at each other in a financial commerce way. But who's the ones that's actually paying the cost of it? Who are the soldiers that are on the front line that are dying? Well, it's you and I. I mean, except we're not dying. We're absorbing the cost of their trade wars and the you know, tariffs and all this kind of stuff. So that's my big issue with it, is that you know, in the end, it's you and I that are paying the price of this. Even though in the end it may work out great, there's a lot of people that right now in America, they could not survive even a temporary 6 months, 12 month, 18, 24-month period of even much worse financial times, because, you know, we've gone through 4 years of the Biden administration. And so now if we have to go through, you know, another year or two of really rough times so that we can get to the other end, or the light at the end of the tunnel, I'm afraid that there's a lot of people that just they're going to be barely surviving at that point. And so that's my big hangup. I'm not opposed to it. I think that there could be possibly another way to get to that goal. And so I really want to kind of give a warning and encourage you folks to be getting ready for this. That's why I've said, start producing as much of your own stuff as you can. Grow your own food. Do as much for yourself as you can. If you do that, you can reduce the costs. It used to be said that you don't save money raising chickens. Well, I think you would right now. If you raised, if you had 30 or 40 laying hens, even the cost of feeding them, especially if you free ranged them, the cost of feeding them would probably not be what it would cost to buy that many eggs. And then you can probably sell a few dozen here and there, because a few dozen laying hens is going to be more eggs than the average family can eat. So right now it is it's financially beneficial to homestead, to prep. So that's what you got to be doing. You need to be planning for that. It's right now is the time. Been talking with people in our group. Everyone's already, their mind is already kind of cued in on gardening. Is it time to start turning the soil around here? Not quite yet. It's very muddy right now, so you couldn't do it. But it's getting very close to that. And so now is the time to be preparing for that kind of stuff. Make sure your seeds are purchased. Make sure that you know what you're going to do. If you're composting, adding something to the soil, whatever it is, right now is the time to be working on that, because you're going to really need it. You're going to need to be producing as much as you can, because things are just going to get harder for a while. Folks, it's time to get your houses in order and prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.